This is the Variety Sports Network created for the fans, by the fans. Now to your host of tonight's show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, north to south, east to west, welcome to the seventh inning stretch, presented to you by Row One Brand and Dugout Mug Studios.
Josh Edwards, how are we doing here? A rare Tuesday night appearance here as I get the logos up on the screen here. Glad to have Clutch Dugout Mug Studios with us and Row One Brand. Glad for anybody joining us here on seventh inning stretch. We got less than 14 games left in the regular season, Josh. We had a few clinchings since we last talked on Thursday. We'll get over a few of those of teams that have made either the playoffs or the division. The Dodgers, obviously, we'll start there with them at some point. They got 10 out of 11 now, and crazy stat for them with their division. But a lot to get into. First, Josh, you ready to talk some ball? They got the Cardinals hat. We'll get into Wainwright a little bit later into the show. Did you see the Cabrera thing where the Dodgers gave him the star? Like Hollywood star. Did you see a picture of that?
I haven't. I heard about it. I haven't seen it
yet. I thought it was funny when the guys on was Talking Baseball, they tweeted, "I wonder what the A's are going to give." I just thought that was kind of a funny tweet. I do wonder what the A's are actually getting. What did they get him? Like, a $50 gift card to Applebee's or something? I'm not sure what they actually got him. So I don't know. I just thought that was funny. So I don't know. The Cardinals, though, we'll get into their 200 wins here in a little bit. I feel like the big storyline, though, for the week is somebody we've talked about for a while on the show is Shohei, right? We've talked about him in the good, being one of the all-time greats and all those things. Then we had the injury news with him. And then, Josh, I don't even think we really got a chance to talk about it, where he left the locker room. Like, he kind of had the reports where he left the locker room and all that stuff. And then it kind of got settled down a little bit. He's now with the team again and stuff in that regard. So what do you think about – let's kind of start there with Mr. Ohtani a little bit. Today he does decide, and the agent comes out and says he's going to be a hitter next year, and the idea is to pitch in 2025. We've talked about this guy possibly getting $700 million, maybe $600 million. That's kind of the idea what we talked about him with his skill set. But now with this injury history, do you think it affects anything with his free agency at all, money-wise?
I mean, slightly. I think it should more. Because if he stops pitching for a year, is he ever going to be the same pitcher he was? Or are we just going to get another version of him? And then is he going to struggle for that first year, adapting to maybe not being able to do everything he could do in the past? I mean, this is now you're gambling. You now have a variable in there. So if I'm any team, my negotiating power just got stronger. I'm not going to have to pay as much, or I'm not going to have to sign him as long as what I probably would have in the open market, bearing nothing happened, and he continued hitting and pitching the way he had all season. Different ball game.
Do you think it maybe is I don't know, like obviously his agent put it out, right? So that that's all. You obviously have to think about that part too. And then his agent's like, hey, he's going to hit all time. Let's just say, for example, he goes on to hit like 47 home runs, drives in 112 wherever he is. Let's just say wherever, steals 28 bases. Plays solid defense wherever he's at, or just DHs the whole time, whatever. It's because of his arm. So let's say he does that. Is there any world where he just becomes a hitter? That's where I'm with you on that. I think that there's a world there where he just says, because that would be his out right there a little bit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. He does seem a little different there. He might be a little determined, but to me, this is the biggest storyline going into next year.
Oh, and
he's just such an all-time player. And he was so gifted. I do want to see him continue to pitch, though. But I do hear getting him injured. That is a possibility when you're trying to recover from one and try to do the other.
I mean, we've seen guys come back from Tommy John surgery, and it's not a big issue. But there's always a risk.
Absolutely.
And that risk is enough for me to say, well, I was going to give you $650 million over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
To go, hey man, that contract now, I'll still give you the 10 years, but it's only going to be $500 million. Like, he's still going to get paid, and I'm sure somebody's still going to go out there and hit that 650, 700 mark. I still believe that will happen. I don't think it should. I think you're resetting the market in the worst way possible, because you're not going to have. He's a generation. He's he's more than a generational talent.
Yeah. No.
I mean, he's a what would you call a centurial? I don't know what the word is. He's a once in every century player.
Hey, it's what that guy said, 0-0, right? McKendry at that. He said that's what he said. He's a 0-0.
I mean, he's the unicorn.
Yeah.
But you're going to reset the market here. And eventually the market's going to catch up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can price so much to play a game, but at the end of the day, should somebody really make $700 million in 10 years to play a game most of us would play for free?
Well, he's got the international market too, man.
I know. And so he can play for less.
Yeah, he said the injury concern is what would stave me off from something like that a little bit. But to me, Josh, it's going to be a big thing we talk about next year, heading into the next baseball year with it. Hey, what do you think about the Dodgers? They clinched it. We talked about it a little bit. They're 10th and 11th all time. The Rays and the Orioles also clinched the playoffs. The division's still up for grabs a little bit as well. So we got a few kind of clinches going on around here. We talked about the Braves already last week. Pretty incredible run when you win 10 out of 11, even though they've only won the one, as Giants fans out here say, the Disneyland World Series, like doesn't really count because of COVID. So they don't, that's what they say. They try to not justify it because of that. But I can understand.
I agree.
There's a lot of people that would agree with you, and Tyler would be one of them. But what do you think there at that? Like the Dodgers 10 out of 11. You got the Orioles, the Rays. It's kind of cool to see them clinch a little bit there too. But man, 10 out of 11. That's pretty damn. That's dominance, man.
Yeah, I mean they are
10 out of 11.
They are just rolling. They're doing the one thing that I hate to see the Dodgers do, and they look like a freight train. And I believe my predictions from the preseason are wrong now, with the way things have played out. If I could reset my playoff prediction, I would.
Yeah. The thing about them is we have Betts and Freeman. It's just such a dominant run there. You have the Orioles and Rays now still battling out there. Hey, Josh, what would be some disappointments for you in the MLB season? If you is there something bigger? Like, does it have to just be a team? Maybe it's a player or somebody that stood out to you that was a disappointment. I know the Cardinals will be on your list, probably, but you could expand on that if you want. But if there was something else, it could be TV, it could be anything. It could be there was a disappointment so far in this season, even though it's been a pretty solid season.
I will be honest with you. The pitching in the game today is a disappointment as a whole.
What do you mean by that?
So we had 36 complete games pitched this year.
Yeah.
Or last year. I just heard the stat right before we went on. So if I mess it up, I'm sorry. I'm close if I mess it up. It's like we've had 36 complete games pitched this year. Guess how many complete games were pitched 20 years ago?
In the season, I would say probably I'm going to say 100.
251.
Dude, it's the one thing, like I keep saying, like, I don't understand how human beings' right arms have gotten worse over time. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. How you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense. So there's something to me that, like, is off about it. And as a fan, you want to see a guy complete these games.
And if they're going to get paid $40, $50 million a year, why are they only throwing 5 innings?
I agree.
Like, if I'm paying this guy money, I'm using him up.
What are you resting him for?
I'm putting him on a 5-year deal at $60 million a year. I'm going to give him that $300+ million contract. I'm going to keep it shorter term, and I'm making him go 7 every time he goes out because I'm paying that man more than everybody else.
Especially your own pitchers.
I'm sorry, pitching today disappoints me. Yes, is it fun to watch the way the ball moves and the way these dudes can throw 104 miles an hour is absolutely unreal. It's amazing, but I would much prefer not just raw talent, but some intelligence in the game. And I think this specialized pitching and these reduced inning pitch counts and everything have just, I don't know. I think the game probably was better back before we were born. But I mean, I know even in the 80s and 90s, it was nothing to go a complete game, and that's what we grew up on. It's
crazy to me because to me that's part of the drama. Like that's when sport. You think yeah, I understand that you want to win, but I get that. But there is a drama factor that also matters too for the fan engagement. There is that. That's why some of these other sports are excelling baseball a little bit. Like these players are playing out at the end. Like we're not seeing the best players at the most important times.
No.
We're seeing the relievers that throw hard and are fresh, and I get their studs and do that well. But there is something that misses in that regard. Disappointment for me is we've obviously talked about the Padres, Mets, all that stuff. All they're kind of like they've been awful this year. We get that, but I also got to say that I thought the White Sox were going to be a little bit better. I definitely did not call that right. They've been just not. I don't know. Like they've just been out the whole year. Like right, Josh. Like we haven't even really got a chance to talk about it because they've been out of this. They've been like really out of the race the whole season, and that division isn't even very good. And I thought they were going to be good. And so to me, that's a big.
They're the nobodies from nowhere, and the Kansas City Royals are the team that forgot to even show up for the season.
Yeah.
And the A's. And I say this when I get the A's off the hook here, and this is why. The A's know they're not going to be there. There's nothing to look forward to. There's nothing to work towards except to wait for the new beginning. So why even go out there and put it at risk when you're going to get all the new goodies and everything? And
dude, they're not even going to have the new stadium until 2027.
Oh my God, it's that far away?
So you're telling me these guys are not going to be trying for the goodies? These guys aren't even going to be on a major league roster if they don't play well in 4 years.
I thought they were. I thought it was a lot quicker move than that.
The A's ownership. Remember, I've been talking to you about this for a while, John. So imagine this is a small little business and you say that guy's not good at getting things done. That's what I've been saying about this guy. It's going to take a lot longer than it actually looks. So it says 2027. We'll see if that's the case.
Oh, it'll be longer than that then.
I don't know. We'll see. Vegas does have a way of moving faster, though. But I'd be shocked if they get. That's the projected date. So that they have.
I guess you know what? I didn't think about that because they put up Vegas's arena and Seattle's arena in like no time. And I don't know if they built brand new stadiums, but I'm sure they had to do a lot of retrofitting if it was one of the old ones.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that still took time.
Yeah.
So I mean.
And they got to build a retractable roof. And it has to be, because it's Vegas. So that's what they're trying to do. And they're doing it on 8.5 acres of land. And nobody's ever built a retractable roof on anything less than 9 acres. So they're trying to do something that's never been done too. So they're seeing if they can do that. So there's like some interesting like storylines.
Why are they going smaller?
Exactly. They could have a way bigger place in Oakland and they just choose not to do it. So I don't know. We'll see.
It's to guarantee that they sell out. It's all marketing.
Yeah. And we'll see if they do.
I hate that stuff. They could lower ticker prices if they put more seats in the place, and they make more money off of food and beer. Like I don't know where I should be the owner of a baseball team. I'd be the richest.
I said in 1998, I wrote a paper to my teacher in 5th grade that I want to be the owner of the A's because they're so bad. Like that's how I still have that paper because they were so bad at it. So I should post it on Twitter. Dude, I was so like I wanted to be an owner back then because I knew they were so bad. I was like, I need to take over this team. 10 offseason additions who have been crucial contenders. I'm gonna name a few here. I just was thinking of guys that have like obviously changed hands and were been really solid for their teams. I would say he got off to a bad start, but I got to put Dansby Swanson in that category. For the Cubs, we talked about him before the season. He's been solid for the Cubs. Has kept them in the race the whole year. He's been off to a slower start in the second half, but Sean Murphy for the Braves was really good as well for the Braves to start there. And then Luis Arraez, obviously leading the league in hitting for the National League with the Marlins, as well as guys like Cody Bellinger for the Cubs as well coming out of it. So just a few guys. And then a surprise one for me, William Contreras for the Brewers. He's been a big surprise as well for the coming on this year for a contender, as well as two guys that have been good pitchers and not too surprising, but their teams are in the race right now is Evaldi and Chris Bassett. So those are some guys I thought who were picked up in the offseason that ended up being like pretty good additions there, like either through trade or through a signing. The William Contreras one to me is really interesting because like he's just been unreal for the Brewers hitting like as a catcher. Like he's been like just unleashed this year. And then the Swanson part, he's just so good at defense, Josh, like we talked about, and then so smooth on defense. So and then his hitting, he has a tendency to get big hits. So that's all that matters when you start to get to this time of year.
True.
Yeah.
Dansby Swanson has really solidified himself now. he almost had the same issue as Wilson Contreras
What do you mean?
coming to St. Louis. It's like
Yeah, but he figured it out.
so is Contreras.
You feel like he's not? Is he? How's he doing in the second half?
Well, he's the best hitter since July
Okay,
in the
so he's
league.
been there.
Like he's the best hitter in the National League.
Is he catching still every day?
No, he's doing the exact same thing. I was mad that they signed him for the money that he got. He
Gotcha.
can't. He hit a home run yesterday. Day off.
Do you think that the reason that I can't put Contreras in this order is because he's not on a contending team right now? That's why I couldn't throw him on there. So that's why
My apologies.
And your apology is accepted. And I will. But I just think Swanson's on there as well. But like I said, William Contreras for me is on there as well. Then guys like Bassett with the Blue Jays too. He came from the Mets last year too. So those are some guys I was thinking about. Did you hear about the Rays getting a new ballpark?
Yeah. I'm waiting for it to be finalized, but I'm excited for them.
I was thinking about a guy from Dugout Mugs that we had on with Josh. Remember we had him on, and he lives in Tampa Bay at the time. But yeah. I heard a lot of people I thought was kind of funny that were like complaining about it being in St. Petersburg and not Tampa Bay. Like they're like, move it to Tampa, like, you know, because it's not. So it got me thinking, like, okay, like, is the St. Louis Cardinals Stadium in the heart of St. Louis?
Yeah,
it's in the city of St. Louis,
dude. Okay. It's right on the river.
Okay, so it's right there with it. So like the Giants are the same way. They're in San Francisco. The A's are, but then you have you have other teams where like they say they're in their city and then they're like 13 miles or 15 miles actually away from the city they claim they're in. So I think it's kind of funny that like Tampa, they're not. They should be the St. Petersburg.
No,
it's sad to say, but
like,
does that ever? That to me, that's a weird thing. I don't get that. Like, I don't know. That's just an odd thing to me. Like,
I mean, where do the Braves actually play?
I don't know. That's a question for somebody that lives in freaking Georgia.
I mean, look at
John. Where are you at? We need you right now, John.
Look at
are they in Atlanta? I think they actually. I don't think they actually are in, or maybe they are. Yeah, they are Atlanta. No, the team I know is not though is oh gosh, right off the top of my head, who am I thinking? They're not in Atlanta. Is it's gonna come to me. Is the Niners? You were talking about West Coast. They play in Santa Clara. It's literally like a 30-mile. It's like 30 miles away. It's not even close. So like they're having the Super Bowl in San Francisco. I'm like, it's in Santa Clara. It's not even in San Francisco.
That's 40 minutes down the road.
Yeah, like that's like, and then with traffic, that's like an hour and 10 minutes. You're not making it over there anytime soon. I don't know. I was just thinking of some teams.
Well, think about pulling from other sports. I mean, look at the New York Giants and the New York Jets.
Yeah,
they're New York and they both play in New Jersey. I mean, I don't know, man. It's some traditions can't be changed, and
I just think it's funny. I just think it's funny when you claim a city and you're not there, like Foxborough. They're not even in New England. They're like Foxborough. They're not even there. So that stuff just cracks me up.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know where Foxborough is, to be honest.
Yeah, they're not even in New England, but we claim it. We're right there with it. So that's all that matters in that regard. I would be curious if I'm assuming the Georgia Dome is in Atlanta just based on everything that's there. But I'd be curious with the Braves. Hey, can I give you a quiz here real quick? That you didn't know this was coming for you, but I'm going to time you for 30 seconds. I'm going to time you. This is an experiment. You can give it back if you want. So if anybody watching right now, this is a Josh Edwards special. I'm going to time him for 30. I'm going to time him for 30 seconds on something here. Josh, here's the question I'm going to give you, and the reason I'm doing it is because if I give you too much time, we're going to get a conversation. So if you get 0, the point is not to embarrass you, sir. It's just to have some fun here. All right. Yeah. It's one that you could answer. I think you can get one at least on. All right. So question of the week brought to you by Rowood Brand. Forget it. Use that code VSP15. We could get something nice for Josh behind his head there on the wall. Maybe something for me. Something we could get. We could get a William Contreras home run. He's starting to play better for you. You said so. We get something.
He's still not a catcher.
So we'll get him at first base stretching. We'll get him at first base stretching for you there. All right, Josh. I'll give you the question. Give you just a second to see it before I go crazy on you here. So, how many switch hitters can you name in 30 seconds? Ready? Set, go. All time.
Tommy Edman. Oh, all time?
All time,
Shit.
any of them.
Tommy Edman, Ozzie Smith. Oh God, there's so many.
20 seconds left.
And Brian Jordan. No, he only hit left-handed.
15 seconds left.
Shoot, I don't know. Man, I don't know. I'm not prepared. I give.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of them, but I gotta think. Hold on. All time?
All time. You
That's
still
a
got
lot.
time to get one more in there.
No, I'm
Time.
off track now.
Here we go.
That's horrible.
Hey,
Sorry.
Two, if you can get a couple more than Josh on that. Josh, I did that up. I give it to you because anybody can answer a question on time. I mean, there's a time limit. There's a little bit more pressure that comes to our head.
I'm like,
So the reason I brought that up is because it's not very rare. It's rare. Like good switch hitters are not like. It's not something that happens every day. Like I was thinking about, like somebody asked a question to me at work today, like who's the best, like a kid, who's the best switch hitter of all time? And I was like, that's a great question of the week. I was like, I need to figure out that if I can do it. So thank you to my guy over there, Ryan at school there. So appreciate that. Help me out with that question.
Brian, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble for that one there. Logan Berkman, Mantle, got Logan Tony in here. He's got Furcal.
I was going just through my Cardinals list, and I was like, hold on, there's 3 on the team this year.
Berkman's on the list there as well.
Oh,
Berkman was the one I was thinking of as well with it. Josh, you'll have to test me on something next week, 30 seconds. Come up with something, and I'll have to figure something. You'll have to say who's won 10 Cy Youngs. Put me on the spot next week, so you'll get the chance. But I just thought that was interesting to think about switch hitters, though. And, like, it's – like Carlos Beltran comes to my mind as like a dominant switch hitter. Guys like like that, guys that could
Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle that could rake from both sides. Like our guy Logan said here, JT Snow for a little bit. I remember from both sides a little bit. Then he just became strictly a left-handed hitter because he was not doing good from the right side at all. A lot of this, don't you think? A lot of the switch hitters though, Josh, are more like utility guys.
Typically, they can play multiple positions.
Yep, exactly. Like you're guys that can just kind of play multiple things. It's a tough one now to think about. I'm having a hard time right now thinking of just like a ton right now.
So in 2018, there were only 48 switch hitters in the league.
Crazy.
In the entire MLB, 48 total.
That's nuts.
That's like 1.5 a team, guys. Actually, it's just a tad over 1.5 a team.
Jorge Posada. Now that I'm thinking of one, I can name him on there. I'm just gonna start naming Willie McGee. He was a switch hitter. I could name him on there.
Willie was, yeah. I think Lonnie Smith was too. The Cardinals had quite a few of them in the 80s. I think
Mantle is the switch hitter, but Logan. Next time I should put. I wonder how many he could come up with. He probably would have had all Cardinals and one Yankee. There's a lot of them were Yankees. The switch hitters too. A lot of the best switch hitter. Bernie Williams was a switch hitter as well. He was a good one for the Yankees too. So I just think don't you think it's kind of cool though when you have a really good switch hitter on your team? Like, isn't there something like I don't know? I think it's kind of rare when you have one on your team. Like when you guys had Berkman, you have to feel good about that.
So in the Cardinals had 5 on their team at one point. This was in the 80s. Yeah. Ozzie Smith, Vince Coleman, Tommy Herr, Willie McGee, and Terry Pendleton.
Good call there with Terry Pendleton. Great call there. He was not great hitter.
Yeah.
No, Pendleton's a great
Roberto Alomar, I guess, was a switch hitter. No, Tim Raines.
Yep, he batted right and left as well. Jose Reyes, he was one recent one that I remember for the Mets. He batted with both sides. I just think it's cool. That was my thing with it when the kid asked me that question. I was like, you're right. Yeah, that's kind of a fun question right there, actually. Because switch hitters, like you just said, Josh, it's one of those things where it happens, but it's not like, I don't know, like I'm saying where you have a good switch hitter too, like where there's like you have a really good switch hitter on your team and it's kind of fun, like your Berkmans, your Beltrons of the world and stuff like that.
Pete Rose,
Chipper
Jones.
Yeah. Hey, that was our question of the week there.
I'm so disappointed. I'm so sorry. That's all right.
No worries. You got 2. I like how Tommy Edman was one though for you. That was my favorite part about that. I think Tommy Edman. I idolized this. I got Logan here. I idolized the switch hitter when I was a kid. So when I got a few, Posada was my boy as a kid. I remember what I did think with him and Ryan. He's like, I can't believe I didn't mention Posada. I can't believe it. I didn't mention Posada. But Josh, as we were getting through question of the week there, switch hitter, you'll have to get a little payback on me at some point for that one. I'll have to make that.
I will. I'm going to get you so bad.
I'm putting it on Twitter tomorrow, my friend. We'll see what people come up with after that. So you'll have to see what you had 25 overhyped players of all time. You wanted to get
Yes,
into this
I
list.
did.
I thought when you mentioned it before air here, I thought it was kind of a fun list. You got the floor, sir.
So I'm not going through all 25. I'm just
No.
going through ones because Darren and I have gone through part of the list. I held some names from him. I'm gonna just say the ones real quick that obvious ones or ones that we all know.
Yeah.
Bernie Williams is on this list. Derek Jeter's on this list. Don Drysdale, Phil Rizzuto, Dave Stewart. Dave Stewart was an A. So do you agree that he's
How can a
overhyped,
guy
or could
be
you finish?
overhyped that wins big games? That's what I don't understand how that can be the case. If you're winning big game, how can you be overhyped? Yeah, he struggled early in his career, but this guy is not overhyped. He's not even in the Hall of Fame. You can't overhype somebody that's not in the Hall of Fame, for goodness sakes. It's disgusting. Makes me sick.
He was only an All-Star once.
Yeah, but how many? Yeah, but he won 3 straight. He won he had 3 straight 21 seasons. That's not too bad.
Yeah, his career win-loss was 168 and 129. He had a 3.95 ERA. And this website calls it mediocre.
Well, this guy, and you had Harold Baines on the list. That made me. This guy's in the Hall of Fame. How can you overhype these guys?
Yeah, King Kiminetti, Mo Vaughn.
Logan, Bernie. You think Bernie was overhyped? Williams?
Do I?
Yeah.
I mean,
he was frustrating as hell because he played against my A's. I'll say that. It was personal. He was frustrating.
He was on those Yankees teams that I hated. So, I mean, those teams were just so good.
Give me some of the new ones.
I don't know if he was overhyped. Yeah, let me get to the new ones.
Yeah, give me some of the new ones.
Paul Konerko was on this list.
Konerko wasn't overhyped. That makes me sick. Whoever made that. Konerko was a hell of a ball player. How dare you disrespect Paul? What a name.
That's one so that's one he didn't know, guys. That's the one he did not know. You can tell by his reaction there. That was authentic. Here was Harold Baines. The next one. I'm interested to hear what you say on this guy.
All right, let's hear it.
The great Nomar Garcia Parra.
I completely agree with this list. That one I agree with. He is overhyped. Miguel Tejada was a better ball player than Nomar. No, I hated that thing, man. I just was not a fan of it. It literally took my play away from it. I will say this. He was a good player, but he was overhyped for all time. He was so much shorter than those big three, and then Tejada took over him. He just couldn't. So, yes, I agree with that part. He was a frustrating player for me. I was not a Red Sox guy at all. He was unreal at that hit going to the hole, that throw going to the hole. I'll give him a little love on that. Little love.
All right, Omar Vizquel. Here's one of our newer ones.
You should have he says you should have Yadier and Wainwright on this list too.
Hold on, Logan. We'll get to that in a second. But
That's coming in a little bit, Logan. That's coming in.
I'm gonna reveal who published this, and we're not trying to trash them or scroll them. We disagree, and if you'd like us and you'll publish it, we will give you our top 25 most overhyped, and we'll see where we are. But you guys got to publish it in your on your website.
There you go.
That's the deal. You guys see this? We're disagreeing. We're not trashing you. We just disagree. If you publish it, we'll get it out to you guys. Just want to have some fun with you. Bryce Harper's on this list.
What? Are you kidding me? How could okay, I'm not going to say how can he be overhyped? The man from 16 has performed. I mean, I don't understand what we're talking about. He's had some bad years, don't get me wrong. But from baseball standards, I would say he's lived up to the hype from somebody. And one of the hardest things to do on earth is hit a baseball. I would say he's lived up to the hype. Wouldn't you, or would you disagree with that? You can disagree. Go at me if you disagree. I don't care.
No, so I'm this is one that I'm split on. I thought before the injury started happening,
yeah,
the delivery was what we were told we were buying.
Yeah.
The product, we got what we paid for. That's what it was. So I agree that when everything started and the whole deal was out, that fair deal. Where he's at right now, I don't feel like he's that hyped anymore. I think his hype upness has sank in recent years. I mean, he's still one of the most highly touted players in the MLB. I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah.
I hear more about Juan Soto than I hear about him. I hear more about Ronald Acuna Jr. or Luis Ariz or a bunch of other players before I ever hear Bryce Harper's name. So that's why I disagree with this. I think his stars kind of fallen with his ability to be hyped up. I don't know the best way to say that because I'm not cool.
No, I get you. I get you on that.
So that's where I'm at on him.
Yeah, no, I got you on that. That makes sense.
Next one, Phil Nirko.
Yeah,
Old Nuxie. Here's one I'm curious what you have to say on this guy.
All right.
Darryl Strawberry.
That's a tough one right there. I would say all-time overhyped list. I would say no. I would say he lived up to the hype. So I would disagree with that. I'd say you win a World Series with the Mets. You have. I mean, he might be one of my most disappointing players of all time list because of what happened at the drop off he had. But I think he still lived up to the hype. He won a. You know what I mean? He won a World Series. He was a pretty damn good player still. Even when he went to the Dodgers, he obviously had his drug issues there. But I would disagree with that one.
Okay. It looks like they say he's overhyped mostly because of his personal issues.
Yeah.
And they feel like he could have accomplished much more with his talent. So they give him credit where the talent is, but that's how they're basing it, that he was overhyped.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I can at least understand that one. This one comes back to me, and this is a little bit before my time, but I think you'll know this guy better than I do. Jack Clark.
Yes.
I mean, how do you feel about this? I mean,
I didn't know. All I know was from a Cardinal standpoint, hitting that home run. Right, he hit that famous home run for you guys, and then he hits all I remember also is you'd see it every year. The Giants towards the end of the regular season. I'll see it probably next week if I'm watching a Giants game, where Jack Clark ruins the Dodgers season by hitting a home run against the Dodgers, and you see Tommy Lasorda's face in the dugout. Like that's the two things like I remember Jack Clark from. He would be like kind of like your better version of maybe a little like a Joey Gallo, like a little better version of that, like a lot. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm trying like some guy that hit home runs but struck.
I mean, dude, he hit 340 homers. He had 1,180 RBIs.
Yeah,
he hit 267.
So that's better than a Gallo in that regard. So I would say the home runs kind of remind me of Gallo, I guess. Then the average. Yeah, that's not all.
That's Nolan Arenado this year.
That's not overhyped. I mean, he hit a big home run for the Cardinals. That's all it does. You guys.
It says here his best seasons were with the Cardinals from 85 to 87.
Yeah, no doubt.
He was never even able to recreate the sparse few good years he had.
No, he did not. Give me a couple here. Give me a couple more here.
Adam Dunn. I actually agree with this one.
Definitely overhyped. Remember Tyler talked about that last week hilariously? Remember he brought up his name where he's like, because we were talking about Pete Alonso and getting his contract. He's like, he reminds me of Adam Dunn.
Adam Dunn. No, that was hilarious. But I agree with that one.
I think the thing with Adam Dunn is I loved Adam Dunn because of just the bombs he would hit. Like when he did make contact, like I loved hitting how far. He had I love the nickname the Big Donkey. And he did walk a lot, so he was a good kind of player in that regard. He was
a pain in the butt.
So he would hit bombs, but because he did have some prime years there where his on base percentage would make up for some of his average there. But like a Schwarber, right? That's kind of what he is now. He's kind of like a modern day Schwarber in that regard. So I would say he was overhyped. He wasn't going to help you win a World Series. I felt like because he struck out way too much.
All right, well this one's for you. The great Jason Giambi.
Overhyped. This is a good one. This is now I'm going to say probably in the article they probably had testimony some of it to steroids. I would say he's not overhyped. I would say he was as somebody that watched the A's, Josh. I mean, this is like prime Darren obsessed with A's. I probably watched 158 of 162 games. I was into the games when he was in his prime. He was a beast. Steroids or not, he was a beast. And then when he went to the Yankees, he wasn't quite as good, right? He just wasn't quite as dominant the MVP form with probably because he went to the Yankees, he joined a powerhouse team, and then that's when he upped his roid game a little bit more. Even when he went there, he was even fitter. That first year was insane.
Oh, dude, he was yoked.
Yeah, but his stomach and just all that, his waist was so thin. So But when he was on his game with the A's, like he was a bad man, and like
Oh
he was
yeah, he
good.
was awesome.
I would not say he was overhyped, and that is definitely because I got to watch him every day.
Well, they are basing that on his steroid use and the fact that when
Yeah.
he got to New York, he was never the same player.
Remember his mustache?
Yeah,
That little
I remember
mustache.
Giambi.
He had a few. He won the home run derby his first year on the Yankees in Milwaukee. I do know that. 2003, he won the home run derby there. He was awesome. Awesome. He was.
Don Mattingly made this list. This one, I am in shock and all this name's on here. I'm gonna just be very transparent. Mr. October is on this list.
Are you kidding me?
I'm dead serious.
Okay, I don't like you. That is acidine. That is not smart. That is not smart. I don't care what his average is. I don't care what the home run. The man has over 500 bombs. It's like, and that is John 500 bombs before all the Roy talk was probably top 20 on that list. Maybe when he joined it, maybe top 25 when he first joined that list. He is not overrated. That is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, I didn't even read that one because I didn't think it was defendable. Nolan Ryan,
also not smart.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand where the argument comes from in this one.
Because he doesn't win.
Yeah, I can understand because they're all about the stats and the numbers. All their defenses come with stats and numbers. He was 324 and 292 overall. He only had 524 winning percentage. ERA was 319, not bad, but not the stuff of legends.
Yeah, how many strikeouts again? 5 billion? Is that what it was? Give me the how many strikeouts?
I mean,
almost 5,000. 5,000 strikeouts.
They say he should have won more games.
Oh, okay, let me ask you this. This is always my argument with Nolan Ryan. This is seriously it. Okay, so he won the World Series in 1969 as a rookie with the Mets. 1969. Right. Let's say hypothetically he wins the World Series his last year with the Rangers. Everybody looks at it a lot different. It's more recent. He carried them to a world. You get my point? Like 1969 to 2023 is a big difference here. Like the man was a freaking beast. Watch the games on YouTube, people. Watch the games on YouTube. Watch it.
This one this is where this is why I'm calling them out at the end of the show or at the end of this. Mark McGwire.
My uncle thinks he's one of the most overrated players all the time. I think me and him probably have gotten an argument 12 to 15 times about it. He thinks McGwire is one of the because he struck out way too much. He blames it. He says it was all on steroids that he got good. I will say this: steroids or not, that's to me my thing is this: with steroids, I don't look at it. But I will say this: he definitely struck out way too much when he was younger. But Josh, you got to see him. Like I got to see him at the end of his prime. You guys got to see him well, maybe you didn't, but you got to see highlights at least of the man when he was.
No, because that was it hit the Sosa McGwire.
98.
That's the furthest thing I remember back clear.
Okay.
So that I remember that.
So that you've never seen a man then more locked in than Barry Bonds before that. Like that, like that he was. It didn't even at that point he was hitting over 300. He was that locked in. So McGwire I always feel like he gets a little bit of a bad rap because I feel like he was such a smart hitter, but like his career is so weird. His career is a weird one for me, if I'm being honest with you on that. And people forget in 1988, like he won Rookie of the Year. He won the home run derby as Rookie of the Year. He was a great player at USC. And then he comes in and he hits a game winner against the Dodgers in Game 3 in that 88 World Series to keep it 2-1. They were actually alive at that point. So, like, his career spans a long time, and people forget about the A's eras with him. They really just think of the Cardinals one.
See, and I always put him as in he had his one career with the A's, and he had a completely different career with the Cardinals.
But it was longer with the A's. Way longer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think of him
as
one of my
prime.
favorite players of all time growing up. I mean, I was born in 1984. He is Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco are my guys. Like that's what I love. So I was all in on those guys early on in my life at 6 and 7. So I don't think he's overhyped. I think McGwire is a beast.
That's what I say. And I got nothing but respect for the
Sosa overhyped.
No.
Yes, he is.
No.
Yes. Josh,
we can have this discussion in the off season. But I'm telling you now, there's your preview for the
Rogan,
off
do you
season.
agree? Sosa's overhyped. Call that quickly.
I have a lot of respect for, even as a Cardinal guy, I got a lot of respect for Sosa.
Hey, I've read
Barry
a lot of
Zito's
books.
on this list.
What?
Yeah, hold on, it gets better.
No, that
Roger
is
Maris.
Who?
Roger Maris.
Also disrespectful.
So I mean,
I
like
wanna
y'all see
slap
this
some
episode. So comes from Sports Scroll. I really hope this is satire and not all serious, but they
No, but
make
you gotta
some
make a
really
list.
yeah, but that's the
There's
way
some
they're
bad.
justifying their picks. I mean, if it's gonna be stats, it's stats. You know, boom. You got to either pick the personal and make include it on everybody, or it's just stats. Like,
What do you think of Derek Jeter? Like, to me, I agree with that. It's personal.
now this was posted by Mike. This list comes
I
from
agree with that.
2019.
That's funny. That was a great list there with that though. Hey, did you
I give the guy credit.
no, Josh, I'm gonna say that this was an awesome list because see that's the stuff I love. When we get to talk about old time guys and then talk Barry Zito is not overhyped. He was a solid, but he was terrible on the Giants though. I'll say that. He was terrible on the Giants. Terrible on it. Hey, you got a few more or you want to move on?
That's the end of the list.
All right. So that was a good one there. That was great there, Josh. That was fantastic. Let me go to diamond notes for a little bit. I think you'll like this first diamond note I have here. Bartolo Colon gushes over Mets fans as he officially retires with the team. On the bottom here, I got the ticker going there with some of his thoughts on it there. His family thought he should have retired as a Cleveland Guardian. I thought that was kind of fascinating. He
never played for the Guardians.
Instead, he retired with the Mets because he felt like they gave him the most love. He also mentioned Anaheim. I don't know if you remember his run he had with Anaheim, but he also mentions that as because he signed with them after the Guardian. After he went to the Expos, he then signed with the Angels, and after that, and then he went to the White Sox a little bit after that too. But he says he remembers himself more with the Mets because the way the fans embraced him. I think it's fascinating the way he feels about that fan base, but it says a lot about a guy that was in the league for 20 plus years, Josh, pitched for like 9 different franchises, and he feels a connection to a franchise he probably pitched less than 3 years for. It's just fascinating to me.
So I got to see Bartolo Colon once in person.
I got to see him a few times because he pitched for the A's for a couple of years.
So when he pitched for the Mets, I got to see him. We went to St. Louis for a game because we lived in Indiana at the time, and it was a long game. I think it went 16 innings. It was ridiculous.
Do you hear it? Do you want to hear what Logan had to say about Sosa real quick or no?
Yeah.
Sosa was the luckiest hitter ever. He struck out so many times. It's not even funny. His 1998 MVP is crap. He's more liked than McGuire for some reason. Logan, I'm sorry that was funny. Gets that terrible defender too. Tyler adds it, and he beat Verlander. That's about Zito there too. Yes, he did, and he helped the A's also with the Twins. But Logan, thank you for tuning in and making these comments against Josh. I do appreciate some of that on that side of it.
This is what gives him joy in life.
It does.
It's attacking me.
I appreciate Logan for those things. Look, if it wasn't for Logan, Josh, me and you wouldn't even met. So there you go. You got to light that love for that.
That's true.
That is true there. So back to the Cologne. He's pitched for so many teams. I just thought that was a good diamond note for the week. The Mets honor him as like now he's a Met. That's how he retired. He pitched for the Indians all those years. Pitched for the Angels. Made the playoffs. I think of him more of an Indian like his parents do. That's how I think of him. I don't think.
So do I.
I don't think
that's my first reaction.
So I don't know. That was kind of shocking. I think the one thing when you think of him with the Mets, don't you think of just his home run maybe? Against the Padres. That's what I think about his home run against the Padres. That's what I think about when I think of Bartolo Colon.
He was always a pitcher who I didn't want to see on the mound when we played him. Like that's what I think of Bartolo Colon. I don't think he was like one of the greatest ever. He was just one of those dudes who threw the ball really well and was always in the game. And he was just a tough pitcher.
he always threw a lot of fastballs. You were getting 2-seam fastballs from it. There was one time against the A's, it's a famous one where he throws like, I think I'm going to get the number wrong, but I think he threw like 38 straight strikes or something. Like, it may be more. Like, he just like, it was like, then he like it was incredible. He just threw fastballs and threw strike. Your guy Adam Wainwright here gets his 200th win. There's talk that he might not pitch again unless it's in the homestand next time. That's what your manager said, that you guys will be retaining this next year. Josh, he's already been made. The owner came out. You're keeping your manager going into the next season. So diamond note here, Wainwright does get his 200th win. I thought it was pretty cool that in this performance against the Brewers, he kind of found his old self. Had a great win, gets his 200th here in spectacular Wainwright fashion. I mean, in typical Cardinals fashion too. And he's the second Cardinal ever to win 200 wins. That is crazy to me. Like, I can't believe Chris Carpenter didn't get there. I'm shocked he didn't make it to 200. I'd be fascinated what Chris Carpenter's total was as a Cardinal, or some of the other older guys too. But I'm just surprised they had nobody.
Bob Gibson. Man, I saw this earlier today because I was going to talk about it.
Bud Smith?
Nope. Hold on. I got a bunch of windows open. Oh my gosh.
Well, my point is we got that going with him as one of your all-time fight front.
Jesse Haynes.
Haynes. I had no idea who he is at all. That must have been way back in the day. Jesse Haynes. But what do you think about Wainwright getting 200 there?
I love it.
Does it matter?
Yeah, it matters.
Right.
It absolutely matters. That's the whole reason he came back. That's the whole reason they paid him.
Does he get his jersey retired now in Cardinals lore? Definitely.
I mean, dude, his jersey was getting retired 5 years ago. I mean, it's 50s off the board, 4s off the board, 5s off the board. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The Cardinals retire so many numbers that if we retire many more, we're going to have none left.
You guys retired
Everybody's going to be wearing 90s and 8. 1, 2.
Have you retired Jim Emmett?
Not yet, no.
You're not retiring his.
So hold on. 1, 2. I'm going to call Yachty and Albert. Stan the Man Musial is 6. So that's 5 total right there. So you got Wire's not in. Yeah, he's Hall of Famed, but his number's not retired.
Ozzie Smith.
Ozzie was number 1. 2 was Show and Dice. 4 Yachty. 5 Pujols. 6 Stan the Man.
Gibson.
7 no.
Then you have your manager.
No. Yeah, I mean, you got Whitey Herzog. Jack Buck's got a square out on the wall.
You guys are like the Giants.
There's just so many.
You guys are like the Giants, basically. There. But if you get 200 wins, now is Wainwright? He's not a Hall of Famer, though, right? We can agree on that.
I don't know, man. I got an argument for that now.
He's not a Hall of Famer. If you're saying Dave Stewart's not a Hall of Famer, this guy's not a Hall of Famer.
I didn't say Dave Stewart wasn't a Hall of Famer. They said that Dave Stewart wasn't a Hall of Famer.
I think you were backing it up.
I don't know enough about Dave Stewart to even make a comment.
Is he white or black? That's the comment there.
I know he's black because of the picture.
They
showed a picture of everybody. I wouldn't have known that if
you would have said a different race, I would have laughed. All right, so Logan here, I can't spoil tomorrow for certain reasons, but there will be arguments and anger on Birds and Bush. There might be a little bit.
There's going to be some fire tomorrow night. We're going to promo now. Tomorrow night, join me. Me and Logan, Jordan might be there. I don't know. It's going to be a Birds and Bush buzz fest. It's been a rough season. It's been a few weeks since we've had a show, so we're just going to kind of come preview what to anticipate going into the last few games of the year and what to anticipate into the start of the offseason and things we think will happen and stuff to look forward to.
Okay, so we're on this note here for Diamond Notes for Let's give you a little Cardinals love for just a second here. Then we'll move on to a few others here. But we're here on 7th inning stretch. We'll touch on your Cardinals here for a little bit. Disappointing season. You said they could have made a run a little late. They did it not as well. They decided to hire that. They keep their manager. You're going to keep Arenado. You're going to keep Goldschmidt in the next year. We'll see what happens. You're going to lose Wainwright to retirement, obviously. So you guys are going to be bringing in new guys. You traded Flaherty, so he's not on your team anymore. So you guys have a whole new system here. Your closers can't stay healthy ever. Like, you know what I mean? So you have some issues from the pitching staff side going into next year that you really are going to have to address. But I want to focus on just Wainwright, though. Just him. Is this guy one of the more – we did overhyped. Is he one of the more underrated players of all time?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I don't want to give too much weight to my argument now because now Logan's basically telling me I'm wrong. But I can share the argument with you on next week. Anyways, I have a very different kind of approach to this topic since the Hall of Fame has gotten so broad anyways. I think the argument's a good one.
But you agree he's underrated from that standpoint.
Oh, he's super underrated, man. This dude's more than a ball player. He becomes a pillar of your city. Stop! You're giving away my points.
I'll stop. I'll give you a little. All right, we'll go to a different.
You knew where I was going, you dirty little bird.
I'll stop. I'll stop. I know my baseball history, Josh. Don't give me get there with it. Hey, Twins Correa, he's reassessed on Friday. Disappointing season for him this year. Correa for the Twins. They are in first place though with them. We'll see if he gets back for the playoffs there with it. Freddie Freeman, you're a freak. Just one of the best players in the last 10 years. First player in MLB history with 25 home runs, 55 doubles, 20 stolen bases in a season. Josh, it's sickening. That is an unreal stat. And it's so funny that the Braves are like, oh, that's good. We got Olsen. He hit 53. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the Braves are just like, because most franchises would be getting killed for that. You can get killed for getting up Freeman. But you get Olsen.
They made a good trade for everybody.
Exactly. Trade with the A's. That's what I said. The Oakland A's, the Oakland Braves. That's my team with them. George Springer here. He adds to his lead as the second all-time leadoff home run hitter with 57. Ricky Henderson is the all-time leader with 51. Josh, not on the spot.
I think I know where you're going, and I'm going to say no.
Can you give a guess to number 3? I'll give you a clue. He played for the Yankees, Cubs, and Nationals since 2000. So it's not, and he won a World Series with the Yankees.
What position is he?
He's an outfielder, DH, right-handed hitter, played for the Cubs, leadoff hitter, swung out of his mind, struck out a ton.
I'm just trying to think of Cubs players right now because I know most of them.
Dominican Republic.
Hold on.
Had a stance I copied a lot. Open stance, Josh. Waving the bat like this. Open stance. Waving the bat.
Not Moises Alou.
One-handed follow through. Your boy. He probably gave you some headaches as a Cardinals fan. Alfonso Soriano.
Oh, Soriano, yeah. I totally forgot about him. Yeah. I only think of him as a Cub. I don't even think of him as a Yankee.
So he had 57 leadoff home runs all time. That kind of surprised me a little bit when I saw him on that list with 57. So he was right behind George Springer. He had 54 all time. Just to give you a little perspective, number 4 all time is Biggio with 53. Mookie Betts tied at 5th with 48 with Ian Kinsler, an ex-Ranger there tied for 5th. Curtis Granderson with 47. Rollins 46. Old Oriole Brady Anderson 44. And then a Rocky Charlie Blackmon with 40. So that's your list of all-time homers. Ricky Henderson, though, 81, Josh. That's a pretty good lead.
I was going to say, he ain't catching that.
Yeah, a pretty good lead still. Logan says the problem was that he didn't have it. He wouldn't have it. He was one trick pony in many ways. Had no velocity. I know he's talking about Adam Wainwright in that thing. But I look forward to Birds and Bush. We'll get into that more tomorrow. Josh and Logan, I will be tuning in to that now. You have me ready to go.
Figured that'd be a good preview.
Yeah, I'll be ready to go for that. I'm excited about that one.
Get your popcorn, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the popcorn, baby. So
it's gonna be a throwback.
Hey, Josh, is it not surprising to you, stat check wise? I looked at stats this week. I was like, we went over the list, but like 5 players in the NL are batting over 300. Only 5. Are you kidding me?
Don't get me started.
Oh my God!
I went off on pitching. I'm saving hitting for the offseason.
Unbelievable, dude. 5 guys are batting over 300 in the National League. That's all we have to worry about. And one of them is Corey Bellinger. Are you kidding me? that's where we're at here as hitters, like in MLB right now. Like to me, I don't know. I don't even know what to think right now with some of this stuff right now with the hitting that's going on. Like it's just I don't get it. So those are some of the things that with hitting wise that I just do not understand at all. As we get to the end of the show here, appreciate anybody tuning in with it. Josh, my last thing here. We got some of our best series kind of coming up here for the weekend. I know it's only Tuesday, but Wednesday I kind of give you a little stat check here for Friday. That's the way we traditionally do it here on the show. A few series that this weekend, Josh, that should have your attention is Toronto at Tampa Bay, Milwaukee at Miami. That's a pretty big series. Arizona at New York. Arizona holding that lead still over the Giants. They're in the wild cards. That'll be a big series, them having to travel East Coast there. I'm kind of curious how that goes. And then, Josh, a big one. Seattle at Texas. That is a massive series as well. So some good baseball to look forward to this weekend as well.
I'll be checking out the MLB Network for sure because I'm sure that Seattle Texas series will be on.
No, definitely. That will be some great baseball there to look forward to this weekend. And Josh, the other thing too is we've been doing this for a while now. I was like, now we're like next week when we meet on Tuesday, because we met Thursday, so it's been like 5 days. We're finally 7 days. We're literally going to be like the regular season's right here, postseason's here. And then you're going to really get sick and tired of our faces because we're going to be on a lot more after that, recapping games and stuff like that. But with that said, I got to look forward to this part of the season, man. It's crunch time here. I like the stats. You got a lot of people stat chasing at this time. It's kind of a fun part of the year still, though. We're like at the very end. So, what do you think? What do you kind of make of that?
So I'm kind of enjoying, like, my season's been over since July. I've known it.
Yeah.
But I'm not only are the Cardinals is the season over, but we've had so many injuries in the last 3 weeks that I'm getting to see a bunch of the kids play. And we got this kid. I want you to keep him on your radar, man. I think I've mentioned it to you before. Richie Palacios. He's got a brother who plays for Pittsburgh. I can't remember his first name. And no, not Richie Rich. The kid wears Oakley glasses, Flak 2.0s, I think. Oakley's, with white frame and clear lenses instead of contacts. So, I mean, he kind of stands out. You'll notice it. The kid has played like 22 games. His on-base percentage or his OPS is like 827. He's got like 5 home runs and 17 RBIs, and he's hitting just under 300.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who missed on this kid, and what am I not seeing that he's what's his downside right now? Because he's a kid, he's young, like he's he's a lot younger than we are, which I guess that's not hard for pro athletes. But keep your eyes open on him. What I'm getting at, anyways, I'm getting to see a lot of these young kids who are getting called up. I'm getting to see some of what I get to look forward in the future, and I'm getting a good sneak peek of what spring training is going to look like. So, I mean, I feel like I've already this season done. I'm marking on next season. So I'm enjoying, for once in my life, getting to look forward instead of being focused right now. And been playing spoilers, been a little bit of fun. Beating teams we're not supposed to beat right now.
Hey, can we also just real quick, Susie's Astros here? They lost 2 out of 3 to the Astros and 2 out of 3 to the A's. Susie, I'm gonna try to get her on here for a playoff. I want her on her reaction here as we kind of do this. She's one of my favorite in the MLB podcast game. I know she might not be with us on Variety Sports, but I still have mad respect for her and stuff like that. So I definitely would love to have her on here to get her kind of talk with that stuff, and she just knows her baseball. And I respect the fact. I love how she's into it late too. So that's the part with it that I love the most about it, with her takes on the MLB there. So I hope to get her take. The Astros still hold that 1-game lead, 1.5 game lead over the Mariners at this point. The Brewers look like they're going to clinch here soon. The NL Central. So a lot of things here, Josh. Yep, I'm very happy about that pick. That was the one I feel like I've stayed on the whole year. So I'm happy about that one with the Brewers. Stuck strong with them the rest of the year.
You can have it. They ain't gonna make it out of the first round.
The pitching wins it. That's the pitching. Josh, it looks like you're on Birds and Bush tomorrow with Logan and Jordan. So you guys will be there. What time are you guys starting tomorrow?
Haven't confirmed yet. Probably around 8:30.
Sounds good. You got
maybe closer to 9. I got to figure out what Logan's schedule is.
So we'll look for Birds and Bush tomorrow. MLB season, get a little update there on the Cardinals there. 7th inning stretch. Again, our goal here is to kind of give you a little bit of everything, a little bit, touch on a little bit of every team, give you a little update there, here or there on the big storylines here in this around MLB. And of course, we got the MLB playoffs here right around the corner here. So a lot to get into here, Josh, as we enter close to October here, sir.
Dude, this is the big stretch at the end. So let's just give this a rundown real quick before we get out of here, just to be fair. Looking at the standings, I just want to run through this real quick. So right now, Baltimore and Tampa Bay are in.
Yep.
Toronto could still get in.
Yep.
Minnesota is going to win the Central, and Cleveland, Detroit are going to be out.
Yep.
Houston, Texas, and Seattle. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So who gets in, Seattle or Toronto?
Well, Texas has hold that third spot too. So I think, and Texas is a half game ahead of Seattle for the third spot.
That's true.
I think Seattle gets in. Texas is just blowing too many saves for me.
Me too.
I mean, Josh, they've blown 31 saves. I mean, that's insane. That's a crazy number. That's not even like that doesn't even seem real.
Yeah, but they're 6-4 in their last 10. The Mariners are 3-7 in the last 10.
They are.
I almost would think that Houston, Texas, and Seattle all would get in, and Toronto would miss. Depending on the schedules, I'd have to look at the schedules.
I still have faith in
I still want to rephrase. It wouldn't surprise me if that happened, even considering where things stand right now. And then in the National League, the Braves are in. The Phillies, are they going to make it?
Yes.
Okay, Brewers are going to win. Nobody else in the Central goes on. So Arizona, San Francisco, Miami. Who's left out?
San Francisco. Their pitching is just too inconsistent at this point. Philadelphia, I mean, Schwarber hit a ball out of the freaking stadium last night.
Yeah, he did a monster shot.
I'd be curious how far that was if you were sitting up there. But no, I think the Giants lose out. They're pitching, like Tyler said when he was on, they have 2 starting pitchers.
Yeah. If they made it, they wouldn't make it anywhere beyond.
No, that's not getting the job done.
All right, cool. I just felt like we should have covered that all the way top to bottom because I felt like we kind of bounced around and I didn't know if we missed anything.
Yeah, no, that's part of the show here on 7th Inning Stretch. We want to keep you where your team's at with that stuff there. I also agree with you, Josh, though. I think the other thing that's interesting is with that Toronto, Texas, Seattle thing is like, I mean, if Texas blows this, that's the thing, too, is like if they blow this thing, I mean, that's just like an all-timer in terms of not making the playoffs after the start they had.
Dude, I would be able to blame Mike Maddox, man. I don't know. He always gets the most out of his pitchers, so I wouldn't blame the pitching coach. But something went wrong with the pitching.
The bullpen. Something went wrong with the bullpen. Like I said, 31 blown.
Blame the bullpen coach then. Don't blame the
31. The bullpen coach. The poor bullpen coach gets fired. That's the way.
You go, bro.
Josh Edwards, that is 7th Inning Stretch for this week. We'll be back with you next Tuesday. We're not doing Thursdays anymore. We can see to NFL football. We will give you that. But then we'll be with you next week, Josh. When we do it Tuesday, then we'll literally have where basically some playoff matchups, maybe possibly 2. So we'll get into that next week too. So if not, we'll have some fun races there at the wild card standings as well. So like I said, I'm looking to get a guest on too for next week as well. So we'll see what happens there for 7th Inning Stretch, Variety Sports Network, Row One Brands, Dugout Mugs. Josh Edwards, take a look tomorrow. Birds and Bush, they'll be on with you Wednesday with Logan Stone. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you, Tyler McGurk, coming in as well. Till next time, for Josh Edwards, I'm Darren Breyer. Peace.
Hey, this is Brandon, CEO of the Variety Sports Network. Thank you again for watching tonight's show. Best way you can support us is by hitting that subscribe button, that like button, and hitting the notifications so you don't miss out on the next show right here on the Variety Sports Network.